Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your October 2020 Astro Transits. It's Raina here. And looking at some of the things that are going on, it seems like the house that you rule, the fourth house of home and family, is really featured in October because as the month begins, the sun is in this area until the 22nd of the month in the sign of Libra. And I was just thinking before I pressed the record button about, cancers and their families. And it is true that signs like Cancer are very family oriented. There's no question about that, and that you really place a lot of value on family, importance, I should have said, importance. But it's also true that just like anybody else, you may have, some of you may have issues with family. It may not be smooth sailing. And so, for some people, when there is emphasis on the family, it's actually in the challenging sense of the word. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that not everybody has a functional family, a kind, supportive family. And for cancers, especially, this can be very upsetting when people ask them, how is your mother? The fourth house can be the mother if you are estranged from your mother. And for a Cancer person, it would take a lot for you to be estranged from your mother. I don't know, though. Maybe there are some Cancers who have a very strong feeling about what is acceptable behavior. And if they have a parent who is negligent in that area, they might just be able to cut them off because they feel like that is an egregious violation. I don't know. Maybe it works out that way. But in any case, there might be some focus on the family with the sun here until the 22nd. We have 2 full moons in October, the first and the last day. So that's pretty, noteworthy too. On the first, we have a full moon at 9 degrees of Aries. Now, Aries is a cardinal sign like you, so it squares you off. And for those of you who are between 0 and 9 degrees of Aries, this is going to fall in your 10th house of career. So this is going to be something where you may get that promotion. You may get that, I don't know what you would call it, recognition. And so people may see your talents in a very public way. For others, and this may also be the end of your career where you are retiring. Maybe they're having a party for you and you're kind of going over all of your past successes and experiences. The full moon can bring things to a culmination. And for others who are from 10 to 29 degrees of Aries, I keep saying it, of Cancer, this will fall in your 9th house, which is more of a spiritual house. It does have other connotations with higher education, with travel. So if you have been traveling, your trip could come to an end. Your travel plans may come to fruition if you've been wanting to travel. So you may actually be about to embark on travel. Some long distance travel is what it is. You could be finishing college. And I know it's only October, and you might say, well, that's not the time when people graduate or finish a semester. But, nowadays it's not like that. people are doing a lot of online stuff and they start and stop at different times. But it might even be that you leave a academic position or change majors if you're in college. This can be a spiritual download that relates to the way that you view life itself. This is the house of your philosophy, your life's philosophy. So all of these things can come into play. On the 2nd, Venus goes into Virgo, and Virgo is your 3rd house, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and the 3rd house is ruled by Mercury under the sign of Gemini, but still. So it's in this place of communication. This could be profiting from the internet or, some online endeavor or some writing that you're doing. There's many possibilities with that one as well. Venus is love, and maybe you're doing online dating and meeting somebody that way. The 3rd house is the house of communication. So the internet is connected to that, although the internet is also associated with the 11th house for the sake of technology and the collective. But the 3rd house is the 3rd house is the media. And so this could be social media, really tapping into social media and how it can benefit you. It can be having harmony with siblings and with neighbors. On the 4th, Pluto goes direct at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So Capricorn, boy, have you had a lot in that area. And for some of you, this Pluto transit in Capricorn has been really in your 6th house. And these are for the last decanate, or 10 degrees of Capricorn specifically. Well, even less than that, because we're talking 23 to 29 degrees. Or latter, those who are born at the end of Cancer Sun, in the last few degrees. This has actually been in your 6th house. It's still in that house of health, that house of work. And you've been dealing with your experiences of health. Sometimes cancers can be hypochondriacs. They can be afraid of illness. Or I don't think that's what hypochondria is. Well, sometimes I think it is, but I think that mainly it is I think it's ultimately trying to get sympathy from others or having others to care for you by, being anxious about every ache and pain. So it's somewhere in that vicinity. And you might be realizing a lot of what your issues with health or your attitudes towards health, how that relates to your consciousness, your even the shadow side. Pluto is all about purging that, but even on the physical level, the kind of toxins, the toxic environment. But I think that with Pluto retrograde, this toxic environment is not the external but the internal toxic environment, toxic thoughts, toxic feelings. And how do you exorcise yourself of these? And now that Pluto is direct, you can take practical steps. It's not just about doing the inner work. Saturn is here as well, and Saturn helps to ground people in terms of their doing practical things, not just kind of pie in the sky. Even if you have great insights into something, unless you put them into action with concrete steps, it's like pissing in the wind in a way, you know what I mean? So maybe you've had power plays at work. And if you've had a full moon, I don't know if those are the same people, Yeah, those are the same people who had the full moon in their 10th house of career. No, those aren't the same people, I don't think. The late degree ones had it in the 9th house, so. But in general, you may realize that there are some coworkers who are trying to subtly, it might not be just overtly, subtly have control over the situation, in the workplace. And maybe you kind of were intimidated by them. And you have finally, realized that you have to, stand your ground, so to speak. For the rest of you, this is happening in the relationship sector. So from 0 to 22 degrees, the vast majority of you. So this is something that you've been dealing with for quite a while. And it may be, it may feel like that movie, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, where it's just like you and your partner, saying all of the things that have been inside of you and just kind of at the deepest level and just getting it out of you. Pluto is about purging. And when it was retrograde, maybe there was a little bit of a truce and you were kind of doing your own inner work or having your own inner dialogue, and now it's more in the world. But this is, for both of you, for all Cancer people, this may relate to the kind of work that you're doing that has some healing angle to it, because Pluto can be the healer. So it might be, the 7th house can be working with clients. And so that might be going forward. On the 13th, we have a Mercury retrograde in fellow water sign, Scorpio. For those of you in the latter degrees of from 10 to, that's not too latter, I guess, the vast majority of you, I guess, 10 to 29 degrees, this is going to fall not in the 5th house of romance, but in the 4th house of home and family. So just like the sun being in Libra, this 4th house, there might be some kind of communication breakdown, whether it's with your mom, whether it's if you're trying to sell your home or buy a home, the contract, Mercury can be the contract, so watch out for these things. Doesn't mean it's a done deal and you can't make it happen. It just means that, and it just seems to be unexpected, and they're actually happy about it, but it's just unexpected. So something could come along like that, where you just have fame, but it might be coming from an unexpected source. You never thought that would be it. Okay, well, that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.